Hello, everybody. This is a very impromptu composition journal talk. Let's talk about composition journals. Um, I was watching Carol and Ann, and I didn't want to interrupt their flow, so I didn't jump on with them today. And so that's why I'm coming on as just a short little impromptu um, to share my composition journal. And I actually started this with Dee Dee in 2020, January 1st, 2020. I started this journal, and I wanted to just talk about it a little bit. Anne was talking about, hi, Teresa. Anne was talking about starting one, and she noted the problem that you have with the composition journals is my first page is the reason why I started gluing my pages together. It looks good. It's just real thin and flimsy, and sometimes you get bleed through where you can't read what you've done. So that after I did this page, I remember there's a book that tells you how to do this technique. If anybody knows what the name of that author is and the techniques name is, if you could put it in chat, and then I'll try to put a link, and I'm going to look it up and put it in the description box. That's what I'll do. I'll look up this technique. But it's used a composition book, and I redid my cover. I did this cover myself. And I put texture paste, and there's some crackle, and you can see all the crackly bit. You can see a little bit where it was a composition journal. This is the typical black and white ones. I think I sanded the cover. And then I started stenciling and stuff with the texture paste. And actually, the first bit of texture paste was actually put on with a palette knife. And then I did some stenciling, and there's rub and buff, and there's just all kinds of stuff on this cover. It was done in 2020, so I don't really remember everything I used on this. But after the first page, I started gluing my pages together, and it gives you, I'm going to turn it this way. So this is the first page, which is a single. And then you see after you start gluing the pages together, you don't get this floppiness. Plus, you don't get bleed through. I did learn some things in that if you're going to use colored pencils, go ahead and do all the drawing, all of the drawing. You can put your quotes down or write your journal bits in blocks and do all of that, all of the stuff you do. And I use either a Bic pen or a Sharpie. I just prefer the Bic pens because they have a tendency of not, bleeding through or anything. But when you are doing a double page, once you go to gluing two pages together, you can use a Sharpie just fine. I've used rubber stamps. So do all of the stuff that's going to be ink-based that might get involved, because if you put your colored pencil down first, then it's hard to write on it, right? So I do all of the writing and it's stamping and all that kind of stuff. And then I come in and I use it like a coloring book. And all I use is these thrifted and purchased colored pencils. There are some metallic ones I bought from Hobby Lobby, but most of the Crayolas you see in here, Scott and I have found at Goodwill. So it's a real inexpensive way to do a journal. Is a Bic pens, Crayola colored pencils, and a glue stick. That's all, and a composition book. So 4 things, and you can do this with those 4 things: composition book, glue stick, Bic pen, and colored pencils. So you can do this kind of journal so easy. So I was just going to share the difference between a single page and a double page. And then I was just going to talk about, I hand drew this border. This author that has this technique, she's real big on the borders. So you could put your borders on everything. Another thing, you'll see splotches here and there on my page. That's something Dee Dee said to do. Once you get your pages glued, actually, I did this before I started gluing pages because I didn't realize I was going to be gluing pages, is she took her sprays. And just to get yourself over the whole blank page thing, just go through your book and just randomly put something on it. Like I drew shapes, and then I came back with some scrap paint. So you could keep this handy for any extra paint. And you draw blocks, make little squiggles. This is sprays. I went in and I did all of this just to get myself past the whole blank page thing. And we're going to talk a little bit more about what I'm doing, because I did this page, decided I needed to glue pages together, but I'd already gone through and sprayed and made marks and stuff. I'm not worried about the stuff that's getting lost when I glue two pages together. Okay. This journal actually started out as a growth journal, meaning growing things or personal growth. So that's what this is all about. But it's kind of morphed into something else, and it's my journal, so it can morph all it wants. Okay. So use your rubber stamps. That's another something you can use. If you have them, just use them. Just make borders with your rubber stamps. So let's just flip through here, and you can see I divided things up. And sometimes the sprays can be a little dark, but that's okay. If you find things you like, go ahead and print them off and make them into stickers. Like this was just printed off, this image right here of the cat. I found it on Pinterest. I printed it off. I stuck it in here. And then I made a border. The border you see around it, I'm just kind of playing by the background that was on this to make my border. So you can pull ideas from the pictures that you find that you want to save and stick in here. You can put those in there. This was a rubber stamp. Little notes about ancient grains and how to use them. If you come up with an idea, you could sketch a light bulb. So just expand on what you have. When you have heart issues, they always talk about cruciferous vegetables. So I just printed off a whole sheet on cruciferous vegetables, and then I chopped them into squares and put them down. So, and go green. And then this was an alien. This is what I do when I'm talking on the phone with my mom, is I sketch on my drop paper, and I did this alien. She's kind of looking dark there. But then I put her through my Xyron machine with it had a cartridge in it that put the film over top of the drawing. I can't remember what that's called now, but I stuck her in here. And I at this time, I was talking a lot about going to more of a vegan or vegetarian type diet. And so that's what this is kind of all about. This is just leftover painty paper that I took, and I just punched a bunch of circles, and I have those circles in an envelope because that's like an instant border. So that's another border idea. It was springtime, so I drew some daffodils. Granted, they're not perfect daffodils. But then I played with, this is graph paper. This isn't a lined composition book. It had graph paper in it. And I kind of played with the grid and created a border following the grid of the page. Again, more rubber stamps. And I love quotes. So I would make some of the squares, because back in the back, to break the page up, like Dee Dee said, I would just put squares. You can put a picture in there. You can put a quote in there. Anything you want. You can draw something in those and then color it. And you'll see lots of other ideas as we go along. Talking about the vegan food pyramid and how it works. And then since this was all about talking about fruits and vegetables, I just drew a pineapple and a carrot, and there's a cucumber and cantaloupe and a banana. So just sketch your own stuff too. Is a lot of fun. Again, borders are important with this person's technique. So I've started adding some really vibrant borders. Let's plant garden vegetables to plant. All of the vegetables I'd love to plant. And this is fruits to plant and herbs to plant. All right, this is where I tried to use the water-soluble type crayons. Hi, Beck. I was in the hospital yesterday morning early because my blood pressure dropped way out the bottom. I mean, it was lower than the picture shows. It was like 60 over 30 something. It was bad. It was very scary. But I'm okay now. Blood pressure's back to normal. And they did pump me with a bag of IV and told me, to watch it for the next 24 hours. And I have a blood pressure cuff. So I thought, I'm going to go ahead and pull that out and check it this morning. And it was perfect this morning. The water soluble crayons really didn't work for me because what happened is it made all of my lettering run. So I only use colored pencils in this journal anymore. The cheaper, the better. I just use Crayola. And like I said, I do my sketching and my writing all before I add color after I learned I can't do this because it looks pretty cool, but the lettering just ran like crazy. On some of this, I can't even read what it says anymore, but it was a lesson learned. So it's in here for me. See how bad it got? So I don't do this technique anymore. I use just my crayons. This little guy here was actually a stamp I carved myself. And this is a stamp I carved that's supposed to be a circle of friendship. And these are supposed to be ladies holding arms around in a circle. So that was something I did. See, here's my little person. I carved him, and then I just went around and colored them. And again, I did the borders. And I started this with Dee Dee, and Dee Dee is here. Welcome, Dee Dee. I love to do this writing where you put curvy lines, and then you just put each letter to the height of that section of the curvy line. I just love how that looks. These were stickers I made on book pages. And they've kind of aged kind of weird because I think I started this with Dee Dee in January 1st, 2020 is what it's dated to, the front. And they're so easy to get you started too, Dee Dee. I mean, get you a composition book, get you a glue stick to glue the pages together, a Bic pen, and some Crayola colored pencils, and you can go to town. And also don't be afraid to print off art you like and include it in your journal. I mean, some of these are things I actually drew myself, but then I loved this picture. The values of it caught my eye. I just love how you can see the lights and the darks. It's a really good lesson in how to do shading when you go to a more of a gray scale. This is almost blue scale. I don't know what that's called when it's just kind of in one color zone. And then let's see. These were like splotches of spray, and I was afraid the writing wouldn't show. So I just doodled some funny looking roses and put them in circles. And then I did this radiating words here. You just, whatever comes to mind, put it in a box. And then you can come back and add a border around your simple boxes. This I did black lines, and then I went in with a white, probably a Posca pen, and just made dots. Another idea, just do squares inside of squares for a border. Monochromatic. Thank you, Dee Dee. My mind's still not working too good. Mina's got a good idea to large designs that make cool borders from newspapers. Yeah. And we have a local little freebie here in Columbia it was called Free Times. It's called something else now, but they have lots of cool things. Hi, Lena. Getting lots of wonderful people in here this morning. Good morning. Well, it's actually 12:06, so technically it's not morning, but it's our morning since Scott's on third shift. Um, I just thought I'd do a quick flip, and you don't have to fill the whole page. This is kind of a cool border. I did what I call the racing flag, where you have the black and white. But I said, why does it have to be black and white? So I did the black and white, and then I was like, ooh, yellow, orange, red, pink. Yeah, you can use colors. So I kind of have the warm colors on this corner, cool colors on that corner, some plants that I sketched myself. Again, just words of wisdom from Pinterest quote black hole. Get stuck in here that, if a quote speaks to me, I stick it in here. And can't remember how I did this shape, but I think it was I did like portions of a circle until it came together. I don't know. This was a vine that I sketched using heart leaves. Nothing but hearts made my leaves. And I did this, had such a cool spray where I went through when Dee Dee said, if you're afraid and you have an aversion to a blank page, just spray some stuff. Well, this came to mind that it looked like a path. And since this was a book about growth, a path, we're all walking a path. We're all walking our own path. So I did a path here. Again, I love to do the borders. The borders are so much fun. Then I got involved with our sweet Barb Owen and Mandalas. Her class on Mandala Madness is called that for a reason. Once you start, you cannot stop. I take breaks, but again, I always go back to the mandalas. So here I just did half a mandala. This was done on the page. I did not do this and then cut it and glue it in. I actually did it on the page. So you can do just a portion of a mandala on the edge of your page, on the side of your page, whatever. So if you go to howtogetcreative.com, this is not an ad. This is just expressing a love I have for Barb and her mandalas. Howtogetcreative.com with Barb Owen. You can get a membership and get access to her classes. I was very fortunate. Barb was sweet one time, and she offered a limited time mandala class on her YouTube channel that only stayed up for a while, and then she took them and put them in the paid section. So anytime Barb offers something for free, you need to jump on it, because I learned so much in that free class. And so there's that. And again, whatever comes to mind or whatever the page is saying, because it looks like I've got swirly gigs and flowers here. And vegetables. I was real big on the vegetables, so I sketched a whole bunch of vegetables. I got mushrooms and garlic and onion and zucchini and bell pepper. Everything's labeled. And I'd love to do a children's book sometimes of just identifying fruits and vegetables and do it up as a little journal-like book. I think that would be fun to do, to have on hand. If I ever get grandchildren, we'll see. Another border idea, flowers. This was another on the phone with my mom doodle on my drop paper, and I decided she needed to come off, and so I pulled my drop paper up, cut her out, and glued her in here. I love quotes, and my own personal thoughts get popped into a box. Again, you do not have to fill the whole page up to get an effect. On here, I filled this side up and didn't even bother coloring it in, because I wanted some black and white here and some black and white here with some color in the middle. So you don't have to color the whole page. You can color just portions of it, and then do something like mimic the pattern of the graph paper. I kind of wish I'd colored this border in, but you know what? It's my journal. I can come back and I can color this border, which I might do that. I might color this border, because then it would be more visible on this side. I think I will do that. I'll color that border in. let's see, this one, I decided to just paint the whole page black. And this was another doodle, a doodle, and a bunch of quotes. This was a fun page, and I had scraped paint on this page, so the colors dictated it needed sunflowers, and these were stickers I made from my own art. What I did is I drew these, and then I shrunk them down so I could print off multiples, and then I ran them through my Xyron machine with that laminating paper in it, where it puts plastic on top of it to protect that. And because I signed all my work, when I shrunk it down, my signature's still there. So, yeah. So, adding paint to the background can help. I started doing the fairy journal with Tanya and Lisa, and then I decided I wasn't loving it. So I just used the things I loved, and these two were pockets. So what I did is I glued the pockets in my book, and I put a piece of washi tape, and I went ahead and I kept my fairy tags. I love these. So I stuck them in here. And I drew bubbles across the page. And then this tag comes out the side. There's a tag. This one's stuck. And this one didn't get mounted. I just left it and put a flower on the back. That tag there is getting damaged a little bit from where I store my journals, but it is what it is. And Mina's saying there are some neon pens that look very dramatic on black. So yeah, you can paint your whole page black with gesso or something. Hi, Kathy. Hi, hello to everybody that's come in. I just wanted to share this since Anne was talking about it in her live this morning, the composition journals, and that she was having trouble because the paper was thin. And I said, glue two together. So I have gone through and I've glued a lot of this together. These were some pens that I bought that I really liked. That these do not bleed through. These like this. They were in a package. Let me see if I can find them. There's that one. And where's the other one? All right. These are Papermate Ink Joy. Those, and then these are Papermate Flare pens. These don't bleed through for me. I really enjoy these. And these remind me of when I was about 11. These were out, or something similar by Papermate, the little ink pens like that. And I loved these when I was a kid. And I love colored chalk. I love colored pens. I just love color. So if it comes in a color, yeah, I'm there. But they don't bleed through, and if you find them, sometimes they come in a multi-pack of, at least these did. They were in a package together. So you got 2 like this and 4 like this. I think I got them at Walmart, maybe. This is a canvas ATC that I did with Beth one night, and I sent her one. And this ATC background is a canvas ATC background, and it had adhesive already on it. So all you had to do, once you made your ATC, you could peel the back off and stick it in your journal. So I thought that was cool. So I did that with Beth one time. I just really liked her happy face. So I just cut this lady out and I glued her in here. And again, she went through the Xyron with the laminator refill in it. And apparently it was my birthday because it says, hey, hey, it's my birthday. I stuck that on her front. And let's see, what else is going on? Again, with you put 2 pencil lines down and then you just write your words or your quote. And then you can go over it. On here, it looks like I did Posca pens. So I did black letters or blue letters, and then I went back in with the black and added some shadow. This was an image that I just found online, these owls, and I liked it so much I printed it off. This little owl was in a catalog, and I cut her out. And then I drew an owl and then added quotes. All right, this was another image I loved, and I just didn't add a lot to this page. This page is dedicated to our Janet Nash because these are all Crazy Janet prompts. And I had to start a new sheet. And so for a long time, I was getting them in here, and then I started another sheet. So I have enough of Janet Nash's prompts here that I could make myself a Janet Nash prompt game of cards, a whole Janet Nash deck. So I might do that sometime, is do it like a Dirty Dozen prompt session just to make my Janet Nash prompts. And I can keep adding to them because I try to write down Janet's prompts every Monday. It's a wonderful crazy Janet, not crazy like you've lost your mind or anything. I just love it when you pull out, add an avocado or stick a belly band on that thing. Or it's like, let's see. This one we had to sew on the page, add a flip, recyclable, tape an image on, winter birds and flowers. Winter birds and flowers. This one said the queen, an owl, a key, add a pocket, music paper, charcoal pencil. That one's not too bad. That one's pretty good. Let me see if I can find one that just kind of blew me away. Let me see. Here's one. This one was fun too. Staple something on, add something shiny, add a heart, add a paper clip, add a pumpkin, and then add googly eyes and a butterfly. So yeah, that's what I mean by crazy. Off the wall, not expected crazy. A good crazy. Makes you think outside the box, Janet. So don't take offense. It's meant as love and affection. I love it. I finished this one while watching Carol and Ann this morning. So this one's finished. It just had some quotes on it, and I had glued these leaves on. And when I put these on here, I went ahead and cut my leaves in half so that they don't get ripped in the middle. They're already cut apart. And then this was the whole article about the friendship rocks or hearts of, what were they called? Happy messages on rocks or something like that. It's November 13th is the rock day. And I had done some rocks. So I need to see if I can find the picture I took of the rocks and print it off. And I'll put my picture in here, probably over here. And then I just went through and I started gluing my pages together. And this book is not all glued together yet. So, Anne, you don't have to go through and glue the entire thing at once. Glue a few pages, work on them, and then when you're ready to start again, glue a few more. You don't have to glue the whole book together. This is something else I found online that I really liked, probably on Pinterest. So I printed it off and I just stuck it in here. This was from my mom and dad. It said, hope you get enough reasons to dance with joy on this Get Happy week. And they send me these 1, 2, 3 greetings all the time. So I printed it off and I was just going to stick it in here because see, it'll fit. So yeah. So what I've done is I've been gluing my pages together and I wanted to see their nice weight. And I thought I was doing good. And then I noticed this one's not glued to anything. Now I have 2 choices. I could go ahead and glue it so there's 3 pages glued together. And then I thought, no, you know what would be more interesting? What if I just glue half a page over so I have a half page in the middle of the journal? So all I got to do is put glue on half of this. So if you're gluing along and you accidentally miss one page, you could do this, or you could just glue 3 pages together. You know, there's nobody telling you how you have to do this. And what I like to do, I've already folded this and I got too much glue too far in. I use my Bondo Spreader. This is another cheap, inexpensive, non-art tool. It's a non-art tool. You find this in automotive. You get a package of 3. And see, now I've got like this short little page here in the middle. So I could do something like do a scene here and then maybe have somebody hiding back here, like draw me a gnome back here. And I've got a box here. There's a little box that kind of came from this side, but I could make it, you know, a box on its own there. So I'm not going to close this because I got glue there and it'll dry eventually. And if it doesn't dry enough, oh, thank you, Dee Dee. Thank you for sharing the idea. So I've been gluing pages, you can see, I sprayed and I did wavy lines. See, I could do a saying on these wavy lines now that just goes all the way across the page. So get you a composition book, glue some pages, couple pages together, and then go through, and if you've got sprays that you've had in your stash forever, you might as well use them. And see, here I started wiping extra paint in here too. And see, I can almost see a face coming on in here. So I could turn this into a lady's face if I wanted to. I had stencil I wanted to clean up, or extra paint and a stencil I was using. Just popped it in here. And then what happens is I just make whatever's on the page into my own story. This one's sticking together. This is some I just glued this morning. And if they stick together on the edges a little bit, just pull them apart. All right. You see, I don't have much left to glue together at all in here, thankfully. And so, all right, let's see. You can definitely tell which ones are glued together and which ones are not. Yeah. See, these are not glued together yet. I must have got a little glue on them somehow, but anyway, that's all I wanted to share. And I hope you guys have a wonderful week ahead. I just wanted to share this composition journal and spread the word that to get into art journaling, you don't need a lot. Pick up an inexpensive composition journal. What are they? Less than $1 at Walmart. Crayola colored pencils are very inexpensive. Bic pens are very inexpensive. And so a glue stick. Okay. So if you go to Walmart, you can go to get them at Walmart. You can get them at Dollar General. Dollar Tree has some little composition books. If you want to do this on a tiny scale, they have the little ones, which I had a little one that I was doing like Dee Dee and wiping excess paint into. I've put it in that safe spot. Okay. So yeah, I might get some more just to do another. And the little composition books, those could be fun to put in. If you're traveling somewhere, just throw them in your bag with a Bic pen and a few colored pencils. You could sketch something on your trip or keep notes from a trip in one of those little composition books. Yes, the safe spot. So thank you, everybody that's come in. This has been so nice to just chit chat for a few minutes. Scott is up. He's got to work tonight from 10 to 6:30. So, and his mom's already called to ask if we're coming to visit. All right, guys, I will let you go and have fun. Just jump into art journaling with just those 4 things and you can be in on it. Bye, guys.